Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer McNeil. I'm the Vice President of the Oracle Migration Practice for CipherSoft Unify. We're just starting the webinar today, and a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. I'm going to show you here on the right-hand side of the screen that you can see a Q&A area. And in that area is where you'll submit questions along the way as we're presenting. We're going to start the presentation here. I'll do a PowerPoint presentation that goes through the basics of how you can convert your Oracle Forms to the 11g technology. And throughout that process, feel free to submit your questions. I'll answer them as we get to sort of a breaking point throughout that PowerPoint presentation. You can also save them to the end of the presentation if you'd like. And then after that presentation, we'll actually be doing a demonstration of the Exodus product, which converts Oracle Forms into the 11g environment as well as into Java. As far as the agenda items are concerned today, we'll talk a bit about CipherSoft, give you a background on the company, and also give you a brief overview of the direction of Oracle Forms applications. Many of you, I know, have used Oracle Forms for many, many years over the past, and our goal is to show you the direction of Oracle Forms from Oracle's perspective as well as from the market's perspective so that you can get a good understanding of the direction and where you could take your forms. We'll also talk a bit about the security of Oracle Forms and how they're going to be used in the future by both Oracle and development groups within different organizations that we've worked with. A bit of Oracle's roadmap and where they're going for the future, and talk a bit about the middleware technology that Oracle has produced within 11g and the WebLogic application server as well. And then we'll talk a bit about converting to Java and whether it makes sense for you as an organization and what you should do to move forward with that, if that's the choice that you make. And then, of course, as we talk about that, some of the challenges that our clients have faced with migration projects as they've been trying to convert their Oracle Forms into different environments. So, again, throughout that process, please feel free to submit any questions, and as well when we get into the demonstration process. CipherSoft is a subsidiary of a company called Unify Corporation out of Sacramento, California. We've been in business since 2002 as an organization providing solutions to clients who are looking to migrate their Oracle Forms into the Java technology. We have been providing conversion tools for over 30 years from one environment to the other. The main business for CipherSoft is all around Oracle Forms and reports to take them into new technology. We're an Oracle migration partner as well as a member of OTN and OPN, and also we're invited to participate in Oracle's Modernization Alliance. So we work really closely with Oracle in understanding their technology and making sure that we're in line with their direction as they move forward. Both Sun and Hewlett-Packard are resellers of our Exodus product and are partners with us as well. All of these companies have utilized our software for their clients, have been able to use the Exodus methodology and tool set to be able to convert clients from Oracle Forms to Java. Our experience is extensive. I don't know how many of you have followed what's happened in this market space over the last 7 or 8 years, but as Oracle has been slowly but surely moving from Forms into Java and doing some other things with their technology other than using a 4GL, there's been a lot of players in this market space who have said that they can convert Oracle Forms into Java. From our experience in producing conversion tools, we've written them over the years for companies like IBM Corporation. Our experience is that this is a very challenging conversion project for us to write from a tool set perspective, but we've been able to get a very high percentage of automation. And we'll talk a bit about that in a little bit so that you can understand when you convert to Java some of the pros and cons and the things that you get in that new environment. That experience that we have, we think, lends us a tremendous amount of credibility in the market space and also the ability to showcase what we can do with our technology. We do pretty much everything around Oracle Forms and reports. So we do training. We go in and work with clients to understand their requirements as far as their specific Oracle Forms applications. And we go about it from a different perspective than most companies. Our goal is to work with a client and understand what they'd like to do with an Oracle Forms application in the future. So we may go into a client and find out after a week assessment or a 2-week assessment of an application that that application actually is not viable to be converted because it's broken or it has problems. Or we may go in and determine that there's not enough resources on the Java side within the client and the client just needs to go to 11g Forms. So we try to understand from the client's perspective where they're coming from for that particular app and use those business drivers to make sure that the solution that we're recommending is right for that particular application. We also do database upgrades and migration services of other databases into the Oracle database as well as Oracle's database into the latest versions. We also have a product called Exodus Advantage that we'll talk a little bit about here in a few minutes. That product allows you to go to different frameworks as you're going into Java. And we do straight PL/SQL conversion to Java. We have some clients who don't have any forms but have PL/SQL code that they won't convert it into Java. We'll talk a bit about that in the conversion process as well. We also convert Oracle Forms to Apex and Microsoft Access applications into the Apex environment. And then finally, we convert Oracle Reports into BI Publisher. And of course, we also do upgrades of reports to 11g if the client decides that they want to stay in that environment. From a product perspective, we have a very robust capability to convert Oracle Forms into Java and into Oracle's ADF environment. The Exodus product automatically converts Oracle Forms and PL/SQL into Java and to ADF. And we're going to show you that product here in a few minutes. That is the version that actually integrates directly into Oracle's Web Center product, which is a part of the 11g technology. And we'll talk when we get into the demonstration process about the reasons that that's very important. But from our perspective, we want to give our clients a lot of choices as they're trying to determine where to take those applications. And we believe the more flexible we can make our Exodus product to facilitate that conversion into the right environment for the client ends with a very happy client base, which we've been very fortunate to have. The Exodus Advantage product, as I talked about a few minutes ago, actually allows you to do a partial conversion, convert the business logic, but as well to take that into other frameworks such as TopLink or some other of the performance layers that are available. Exodus PL/SQL I talked about converts the PL/SQL code. We also have a visual editor for our clients once they get into the Java environment to be able to maintain the application. Exodus Apex converts the Oracle Forms to the Apex environment. And we also have an analyzer which actually looks at the Oracle Forms application, analyzes that, and determines the conversion issues along the way. So a robust area we're convinced that allows you to choose where you'd like to take that application. The Exodus product itself, that first line item that you see there, actually is a full conversion product that allows you to take the forms and the PL/SQL libraries associated with those forms into the Java environment. So very robust in its capabilities and very flexible in what it offers you as choices of where you want to go in the future with your Java applications. As I said earlier, we've been writing conversion tools for many, many years, and one of the challenges that we found for clients is to make sure that converted code is very clean. So we're pretty simplistic in what we're trying to achieve with our technology. We want to make sure that the code that's generated is clean. Most of our clients are very large organizations with mission-critical applications that they need to be able to enhance and maintain as soon as it's converted. So the code that we produce, as you'll see here in a few minutes, we're going to show you that code. Very clean, very understandable, and maintainable, so that our clients can maintain that application as soon as it's converted. We really don't want you to spend 6 or 8 or 10 months trying to figure out what happened in an automated conversion process. And I'll give you an example of that. We have a client in Dallas who actually determined that they had a PowerPoint application they wanted to convert into Java. And they purchased a product and used some technology from a company who claimed to be able to do that. Unfortunately, the code that was produced was in such bad condition that they can't maintain or enhance that application. So that gives you an idea of sometimes automated conversion tools can be very functional and very fast, but if you're not able to achieve clean code as an end result, that really doesn't save you any time or money or allow you to take advantage of the things that you need as you get into that new environment. The other piece that we think is very important is for the application to be functionally identical. So you may have a different look and feel to those screens as you convert into Java or ADF, but the overall goal is to make sure that that business logic is converted from the original application. Because your goal with an automatic conversion tool is to really leverage the investment that you've made in that original Oracle application, so that you don't have to rewrite or recreate what you've already done, especially from the business logic perspective. So being able to have a functionally identical application from the way that it operates allows you to then be able to bring over all of that work that you've done for many, many years. And finally, that your application is compact. The other really important piece is that when you get into the new environment, that you don't have a really big footprint, and we can talk a bit more about that in the technical demonstration. So, for those of you who have worked with Oracle Forms for many years, as most of us have, we know that Forms has come from the block mode environment, and believe it or not, we still run into clients who have even released 2.3 of Forms, where we've converted them into new technology. And, of course, moving into character mode, client server, and then onto the web. The latest version of Forms is 11g Forms, which was released in July of this year. And it is, of course, working in the WebLogic environment with the application server. And many of our clients have determined that they want to go to 11g Forms rather than go into Java as a stepping stone, perhaps, or perhaps run the applications together. Within one application, have some of their forms running in Forms and some running in converted to Java. And we'll again talk about those opportunities that you have with this application of the choices as you run those in the new environment. We run into clients all the time that are very concerned that of how many Forms users there are today. It's a very active Oracle Forms development environment. About 40% of the enterprise database customers that Oracle has utilize Oracle Forms. So for those of you who have Forms that are very concerned that you're the last one that hasn't converted, you're not. But that being said, it's very straightforward from Oracle's direction that they are moving into Java and away from Forms as a future development environment, as with ADF and some of the other technology that they've created. So it is a very active customer base. There are still about 400,000 Oracle Forms users around the world. So I apologize for these questions coming up sideways. If they are on your screen, they are on mine, so I'll try to go through them. We get common questions about Oracle Forms, asking is Forms going away. As I said earlier, Oracle Forms 11g was released in July, so we know that it's not going away. There are not extensive enhancements to Forms themselves, and you're still developing in a 4GL environment. You do have limitations of being able to utilize some of the latest technology that Oracle's released in their middleware. But that being said, it is still a supported environment, and I'll show you a slide here in a few minutes that shows you sort of the latest dates and release dates of Oracle Forms. The other question that we get quite often is, I'm in client server today, what's my path forward? Well, client server will no longer be, regardless of the choice that you make. If you go to 11g Forms or you go to Java, ADF, in any of those environments, client server is not the technology that's being developed going forward. That is, everyone's running in a 3-tier environment now. And as far as a path for Java, Oracle has endorsed several partners, our being one of them, to be able to take clients into that new environment. And then the last question is, I'm going to Java, what do I do with my forms? We have a lot of people who approach us and say that they want to continue to develop in forms but use the conversion tool to convert it into Java and deploy it in Java. We really don't recommend that. We recommend that you can run forms and Java simultaneously in the same application, but the overall goal should be to take that application into the new environment. In maintaining both of those environments, you do have some maintenance issues and some support issues that you probably would have nightmares trying to support. So we do recommend that you make a determination of the overall goal and work towards that as what you're trying to achieve with this conversion project. So you see here on the slide some of the dates that are released by Oracle themselves. Support for Developer Suite 11g and Oracle's Application Server 11g is now through January of 2011 with extended support through 2013. I do expect that those dates will stretch some as the WebLogic Application Server has just been released recently, and as well as 11g. So from Oracle's perspective, their roadmap for Forms is that they do have a long-term commitment to the Oracle Forms clients, but they are encouraging people to upgrade and integrate those applications into the new environment. Java is a very robust development environment, gives a lot of choices to clients of where they want to go with applications, and being able to use your applications in the 11g middleware technology really gives you a tremendous amount of capabilities as where you want to go for web services. When people are, we get asked continuously by Oracle Forms clients why someone would want to take those forms into Java. And really your overall goal for this application, again, is to take advantage of what you've developed, to be able to take that application into the web and provide web services either to your clients or to your employees as a future direction, as well as taking advantage of things like SOA and some of the things that you might want to do with the app. Again, you probably know that Oracle has developed their own enterprise applications with ADF and JDeveloper, and those new applications are being released, regularly now. And really, Oracle's direction, as obviously with purchasing Sun, is to move into Java. So when we talk about Fusion Middleware, it's really a very interesting application server and middleware environment. We've worked with Oracle's technology for many, many years, and the overall goal of Fusion Middleware is to really be able to give you a lot of flexibility. When I talked a bit about Exodus and its capabilities, one of the things that we've been doing with clients is allowing them to have choices of where they want to take this application once they get into the new environment. Because as we know, we've seen the web and the capabilities on the web change dramatically, even over the last 3 years. And I think most of us can say that if someone had told us 5 years ago what we would be able to do with the web and web services, we probably wouldn't have believed that. So the overall goal for the Fusion Middleware is to be able to really exploit the new hardware and software architectures and take advantage of those while enabling you as a developer to have really intelligent business applications. And I think when you're evaluating your applications and where you want to go with those and what you'd like to do, it's really important to try to determine the life expectancy of that app, but also where you'd like to see that application in the next 2 to 3 years. Sometimes that's fairly challenging because things are changing so quickly. But I think that if you really take a hard look at that application and the overall goal for it, you're able to take advantage of the new capabilities as you move with that application into other worlds. The overall goal for any type of conversion project or trying to take advantage of some of this middleware is to, again, retain that legacy investment that you've made, but also look at the new technology that's available and how you can integrate it with an application that you've been developing for 15 or 20 years to really eliminate you having to completely rewrite that app. And we'll talk quite a bit about that in comparison to rewriting and what it means to you as we get into the conversion process. When you look at the Oracle Forms applications, one of the things that we look at on the web is, of course, the security and how you're going to go forward with that and maintain that security. And we see that the ability to build on that legacy investment, but also utilize the new capabilities, really maximize what you're trying to achieve with that application, and utilize the new capabilities to incorporate new technology without having to spend a tremendous amount of time learning how to use it. We are often asked by clients, well, when I get into Java, how do I learn how to use this technology? And of course, we provide assistance in that. Oracle has a tremendous amount of training and abilities to show you how to use that technology. And as you get into ADF, you'll see a lot of the same functionality in ADF that you were able to see in the original environment in Forms, because Oracle's made ADF very Forms-like in its development capabilities, even though it's a development environment in Java. So as you look at your roadmap for the Forms applications, of course, you have Forms applications that are still running in some version of Forms, and you are able to take those applications, run them simultaneously with Java applications in a single application server environment. And those applications can actually share business logic and common services. For most of us, we've been talking about full integration of our applications for many, many years. In a perfect world, we want to be able to enter information one time and have it distribute throughout the environment to the appropriate areas without having to re-enter it in many different areas. So our overall goal for our applications is to share that business logic and common services and be able to integrate those applications. With the JDBC connectivity that you have within Java and your applications being able to share databases, you're really able to achieve that where you don't have 4 different people entering information in 4 different locations. Again, an infrastructure for all applications and really seamless integration so that the end user understands that they're entering information that may be seen by 600 other users, but that information is only entered once. And again, to share that business logic as well. So for those of you who haven't actually seen the information on Fusion Middleware, just a brief overview. Of course, the application server is the WebLogic application server, and it is the new direction that Oracle's going for their app server. We are seeing a lot of our clients convert their databases into the new environment as well as take their 10g application server into WebLogic. There is a conversion utility that's available to be able to do that, or you can use an organization like ourselves to be able to do that. Oracle SOA Suite 11g is really a real strong service-oriented architecture that allows you to be able to have a framework that, again, uses those reusable processes and be more effective in the way that you respond to your users. Identity management, again, is included in that middleware, as well as a product called Web Center. And Web Center is really a portal platform that allows you to create portals quick and easy for access for your clients and your processes. Real strong ability to take your application from your original Forms environment and actually convert it into Java to be able to take advantage of WebCentral. Oracle's strategy, of course, is to build on the Fusion architecture, the blueprint for SOA and the technologies, and really evolve through that. So just a little bit about the Exodus product that we're going to show you here in a few minutes. As I said, we've been in this market space since 2002. Since then, we've seen several companies who've gone out of business in this environment, and I think it's mainly because they touted that they could do something and really oversold what they could do with the conversion technology. Exodus is able to convert automatically anywhere from about 85 to 100% of the application, and that is really dependent on what's included in that application and anything that's been used that maybe is not supported in Java. And we're going to talk quite a bit about that as well. But the great thing about being able to produce a product is that we are able to sell that product to you as a user, or we can do the service for you. If we do the actual conversion project for you, what we do is continue to do any manual intervention that's required to deliver a fully deployable application that you can run in your environment. But we are still the only company that's able to ship a product to you for use to convert the Oracle Forms. We also, of course, are a member of OPN and OTN. We talked about that. Oracle actively endorses us on a global basis. And the most important piece of this, I believe, is that we really work very closely with Oracle's development team to make sure that we know where they're going from a direction and a technology perspective so that we can make sure that our technology matches that. So we are often asked, as I said earlier, why anyone would want to convert to Java. Your overall goal with going to Java is to be able to give yourself, as I said, a lot of flexibility, but a lot of choices as you go into the new environment. So you want to make sure that you have really taken into consideration the issues that you have with your resources and that you have the capability to move forward. But once you've done that, you really are opened up to a lot of choices as you get into Java. You're able to standardize your business applications, take advantage of SOA and some of the other technology that's available. And as I said earlier, integrate with Oracle's Web Center technology to take advantage of the new environment as you go into 11g. So now that we've talked about how great our product is, one of the things that we try to manage from our client's perspective is the challenges of migrating forms applications, because I really believe that that's one of the pieces that's missing from most companies who work in this market, is that in talking to clients that they don't make sure that the client knows exactly what they're getting in those Java applications and what they should be trying to achieve from the original environment. So one of the challenges that we had in building this tool was to be able to retain that business logic from the original Forms application and be able to replicate that in the new environment. We've been very successful in doing that, and we're the only company that are able to pull that business logic out, parse it into Java code, and allow it to be utilized in the new application. Again, that clean and structured environment that we're generating with Exodus is pure Java code. We don't have any special versions or anything within that Java code that requires you to have a special license of something. It's pure J2EE code, clean and structured. As you probably know, Java is not a very structured development environment as Forms was. Forms was a 4GL. Java is an object-oriented environment. But we've been able to create a very structured environment in Java so that the Forms programmers can even start developing applications and enhancing those applications in Java because it is so structured. The other piece that we believe is very important is giving you the choice of being able to have the same look and feel to the application or perhaps a completely new GUI interface. So some of our clients have a portion of their application that their users hate. They would just really like to not see that application running in the new environment, but they want to retain all the business logic. So we have created the ability within Exodus to generate the same look and feel of the original application or a completely new user interface so that you can define it and determine exactly how you'd like for that to look. We can do that by form, by module, by application, and as we get into the presentation, we'll talk a little bit more about that. That really gives you the ability to perhaps take a portion of your app, have it have a different look and feel, and then maybe you have an application that your users use and have used for many years and you don't want to change that. You have those options within Exodus to be able to choose how you'd like for your application to look in the new environment. Again, our overall goal with Exodus is to take your project down from a rewrite that might take you 5 years into an 8 to 10 month project. We encourage our clients to continue to produce a project plan, and when we do a project for a client, we have a project manager who has owned every one of our projects to make sure that that the delivery is made on time and that we do everything as we need to for our clients. But our overall goal is to take a very long, drawn-out process of getting this application into Java to a much shorter time period so that you can take advantage of the new technology, not in 3 or 4 years, but immediately. And again, to be able to give you that choice of perhaps converting a portion of the application or taking the entire application at once really determined by your business processes and your business drivers of how you'd like to do the conversion process. When we talk about automatic conversion, I think a real good example of this is a client that we have, large government software company who decided that they wanted to convert their application to Java. It was extremely complex, one of the most complex forms applications that we've ever looked at, and we've seen probably 500 forms applications over the last 7 years. And in the process of that, they had allocated about 65 man-years to manually convert their application. They had started that process, had gotten very frustrated with it, and purchased our services to do the conversion process for them. We were able to do that conversion project in about 10 months with about 2.5 people. So you can see that the amount of time that was spent was extensively less than what they would have had if they had gone through their process originally. But more importantly, we were able to use our automatic converter on it, which gave less risk to the project because there was less manual intervention. So the benefits of using an automatic converter really is to retain that original business logic and functionality, allowing you to have, again, the same look and feel or a new user interface, but retain that investment made and really have less risk. The higher we can get that automated percentage with our Exodus product, the less risk you have within your project, because every time that it hits something that it's going to convert, it actually does the same thing over and over again, so you're able to have the same results and know exactly what's happened. Again, in benchmarking, we've been 90% faster at a minimum than manual conversion and providing a significant cost reduction. Our Java plugin version allows you to have about a 98% automation percentage. When we're going to HTML, ADF version, we're getting anywhere from about 85 to 98% automation. And the difference in that is because when you go to HTML, there are just some things that are done differently there than were done in the original client server. So those differences are something that we can talk about here in our presentation as well, in our technical demonstration. So again, the product itself has full JDBC connectivity. The Java code is pure Java code, multi-tier architecture, and we don't again provide any special requirements. You use the latest JDKs. All the Java code is pure Java that is your code as soon as it's converted, and you're able to use it and do what you'd like to with it. Just a few of our customers. We've I guess over the last 7 years done about 250 to 300 conversion projects. Most of our clients are fairly large organizations around the world, and throughout that process we've been very successful. We have an extensive number of references that are very happy with what we've produced. Some of these clients have purchased Exodus themselves to use, and some of them have actually asked us to do the project for them. As well, we have some, like Department of Defense, who's used their own contractor internally to do the conversion process. So we are more than happy to work with a systems integrator. If you already have someone enhancing or maintaining that code to use Exodus, we can do the project for you beginning to end, or we can sell you the product and train you in using it. In training with Exodus, it's anywhere from about 3 to 5 days for training, and we provide, of course, documentation and all that you need to be able to get that project finished. So we're going to just stop here for just 1 second, make sure that if anyone has any questions, feel free to submit them here on the right-hand side as we get ready for our technical demonstration. So one of the things that we try to do with our converter in the demonstration process is to be able to show you a form before conversion and actually go through the conversion process for you. So what we're going to show you today is an actual original Oracle Forms app. It's 3 forms. We consider this to be a moderately complex application, a small application. Exodus can convert really any size or any scope of application or form, but our overall goal in the demonstration process is to show you something that gives you a good, overall view of the different capabilities. So as you can see here, we're running through the demonstration. You can see that we're sort of toggling through some of the things that are done with this original app. For those of you who have ever been in Oracle Forms training, you've probably seen this application. It's called the Summit app. And Oracle actually provided it to us to be able to validate that our tool worked and to show them what we've done with our technology. So as we've gone through this, we've sort of shown you those 3 forms, and now we're going to go through the demonstration process. So you see here, you have a lot of options in conversion itself. You're able to choose what you'd like to do with the application, how you'd like it converted, if you're going to convert the database, if you want to convert that into EJBs or Java classes. And those are choices that we would help you make if you've purchased the product, or if we were doing the project for you, we would make those choices based on what you're trying to achieve for that application going forward. The project planning piece for this conversion piece is very important. We spend quite a bit of time on project management with our clients to understand the overall goal for the application and what you want to see as you have it converted. And throughout that process, then, we're able to help you determine the best direction for that application. I talked a little bit earlier about the analyzer, and that tool helps us determine for clients anything that is going to cause problems in the Java world. So throughout the conversion process, we're able to actually look at that original app and find things like go-tos. Java doesn't know what a go-to is, so the converter can convert it, but Java wouldn't know what to do with it once it's converted into the new environment. So what you see here in the demonstration process is we're actually going through converting the database and library PL/SQL and generating a conversion report that shows us what was found along the way and any problems that occurred throughout the conversion process. And then, of course, we go through and convert the menus and the forms themselves. So what you see here is actually the conversion to ADF, which is Oracle's application development framework. And this will produce an HTML application that's running in a browser. one of the things that you have choices of when you go with a product like Exodus is you can actually deploy that application in several different environments. So you can deploy it as a Java plugin, you can deploy it as HTML, an applet outside of the browser, or many other choices. Again, our overall goal is to make sure that you have choices for that application of how you'd like it deployed in the future environment. And we work with our clients to make sure that we understand that, what you're trying to achieve with that application. We have some clients who can't use HTML. They're international. They can't keep a line up for a long period of time. And in that case, an applet running in or outside of a browser may make more sense. So what you see here that's happening on the screen is an actual conversion, continuous conversion of those forms themselves and the reports that are produced. And that report, again, will show you anything that is generated that is going to have a problem as you get into the new environment by line item. And this conversion takes anywhere from, for these three forms, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, which is very impressive from a time perspective. These particular forms don't require any manual intervention in order to get them deployed into the new environment. But we do encourage our clients to make sure that you build into your project plan, your testing, all the performance tuning, the things that you need to do to make sure that the application runs in the new environment as it did originally. Okay, I think we've had some kind of problem in the presentation. We're just there we are. So, you see here as she's getting into the new environment, the converted application is going to be here on the screen in just a minute. You're going to be able to see that application running. This was actually converted, as I said, originally into ADF. And this was that original application that you just saw running in Forms, which we're going to bring up here in a few minutes to show you them sort of as we toggle back and forth between them to see the differences in the new environment versus the original. Now, keep in mind that the fonts have not been changed in this. The colors have not been changed. Those are all things that manual intervention that I talked about that you or we would do so that application looks and feels as you would like for it to be. And this is as well the same look and feel as the original application. This is not the new template defined. We just wanted to show you the exact same look and feel so you could see how similar the new application looks than the original. And of course, the fonts are a little different, the colors are a little different, but all of that can be changed in the new environment. So in the foreground here is the converted application, and in the background is the original Oracle Forms app. And you can see again how similar they are in how they look, how the look and feel is. Again, Exodus ran straight through this with, with full conversion. This was 100% conversion for us for this particular app. But we like to make sure that when we're working with clients that we prepare them that there may be some things that you've done within your Oracle Forms app that are done differently in Java or perhaps Java won't understand. So that's that percentage of automation that perhaps Exodus can't achieve, but again, we can do that for you or we can show you how to do it if you purchase the tool. So that's throughout the demonstration process. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to bring up the code that's generated, the Java code that's generated with this conversion process so that you can look at it and see what it looks like in the new environment versus perhaps what had been developed with an Oracle Forms environment.
That'll just take a minute to bring up that JDeveloper, so if there's any questions while we wait for that, this might be a good time.
Now, what you're going to see as she brings it up is actually, again, is a version that we have that's integrated directly with JDeveloper. We also have a version that we've integrated with Eclipse, but the IDE that we use internally is JDeveloper. But in this actual version that you see here, we've integrated directly with JDev and are producing ADF code. Again, feel free to ask any questions on your Q&A on the right-hand side of your screen. Now, when we talked a little bit about Web Center in the 11g Middleware technology, of course, what you see here is the ADF version, but we also have a version that actually goes directly into Web Center to allow you to build portlets and utilize that technology in the 11g environment. So that is a real strong capability for those of you who have used Web Center or have seen it, to be able to get the accessibility of that information even more specific on web services out to your client base. Sorry about the time period sometimes. Sometimes JDeveloper takes a little bit to load the first time, so we'll be ready here in just a second. I just had a question here. What's the cost of the tool? We have a couple of options. We have a minimum license that converts 35 forms. That's $10,000. And then after that is $350 a form. And then once you get to, of course, a certain number, we have enterprise licenses that we can sell to you for the entire organization. That is the conversion of the forms and the PL SQL libraries that are associated with that, with those forms. If you purchase the tool, the training is, as I said, usually $3,000 to $5,000, depending on the number of days that you utilize of our services. We've done that training even over the web. Government of Indonesia is one of our clients. We actually trained one of their agents to do the conversion project, and they were able to get their project done in about 3 months. So, as you see, we have a tip of the day. Okay, so you see here you're looking at actually the converted code that was generated with Exodus. And she's just going to sort of toggle through here as you see some of the properties, get form properties, some of the things you may recognize from the original application. Forms triggers that were converted. There are thousands of Oracle Forms triggers to be converted in the original application environment, which is, I think, one of the reasons why we've been the only company to be able to convert that business logic. Very challenging to be able to find what, all of those original Oracle Forms triggers were, but we've been able to really get to very deep within that and convert the business logic very efficiently. And again, just going through this code so that you can see it. The next question is, how about reports? Can it convert reports? So Exodus doesn't convert reports. We give you a couple of options. You can continue to call your Oracle reports in the new environment, or we can convert those reports to BI Publisher. And really it's a choice for you as far as where you'd like to go. The challenge that you have in converting reports to Java is that from a maintenance standpoint, most of our clients don't want to maintain their reports in the Java world. They want some type of tool to be able to to maintain those reports. So that's one of the reasons that we've chosen to convert reports into BI Publisher. Other questions? Again, this sort of just gives you an idea of the code that's generated and what you get as an end result. Very structured, very clean code that you're able to maintain as soon as it's converted. As I mentioned earlier, we really don't want our clients to spend, months trying to figure out what's happened in the conversion process. The other piece that I think is very important is on the left-hand side of the screen here, excuse me, you see our hierarchy of what's generated from the original Oracle Forms environment. So all of the original environment, all the forms names stay the same. You can actually go through and see the different fields within that Oracle form. The reason is we've been so specific with that is that we really don't want you to try to figure out where all of your files have landed in the new environment. There are a lot more files when you go to Java than there were in Oracle Forms, so very important that you have a very clean hierarchy in what's generated, which is what you see here. The next question is explain BI Publisher. BI Publisher is a new product that Oracle has created. It's actually a product that they took a whole sort of group of their reporting environments and put together for business intelligence. It is a very strong reporting technology that we love. We actually have done some conversions for our clients to convert their Oracle Forms to BI Pub, and allows you to be able to take those reports, put them out, publish them, in many different areas, but only maintain them in one. If you would like more information or like for us to do a demonstration of BI Publisher, we'd be more than happy to do that. But again, a very strong Java reporting tool that allows your users to be able to create their reports on the fly if you'd like to, or your developers to do the same. Any other questions before we wrap up? Okay, well, I want to thank you all for attending and for taking your time. I know you're all very busy, and we appreciate that. If you have any questions or would like to contact us, please feel free to send your questions in or contact us directly. And if there's any specific webinars that we can provide to you, maybe for your organization specifically, or for a particular group within your organization, so they can see the process, we'd be more than happy to do that. As well, we can come on site, do an assessment of your application, and help you determine the best direction for that.